I used to hate the quiet because it meant one thing. Death had come to claim the living. After the death stranding, when the world went to hell, silence was a warning. It meant something was coming. You couldn't see it, couldn't hear it. Just that crushing stillness before the storm. That's how it always began. I thought I'd made my peace with it. With the endless walking, the void outs, the BTs, the constant feeling that you were one step away from disappearing. People said the world was broken, but I thought we were the ones broken, just trying to hold together the scraps of what was left, one delivery at a time. But then Fragile called, "Sam, I need you." Her voice was different this time, as if she finally had herself a reality check. I know this feeling. Something big was coming our way, moreover, something I hadn't heard in a long time. The Magellan was waiting for me, a ship floating in the vast emptiness like it didn't belong. It never did. Drawbridge had been operating from it for a while now, moving between void-out zones like it was immune to the collapse happening around us. The ship felt alive, humming with power, but in the way an animal senses a storm before it hits. It was restless, on edge. Fragile greeted me on deck, and for the first time, I said to her, "Be at ease. We're all fighting each and every day to hold off death." Her face was thinner, her skin pale against the backdrop of the ship's metal corridors. She led me through the narrow halls, explaining as we walked, "We found something. Something that can stop this." The air suddenly felt too thick, too close. Fragile's eyes met mine, and for a second, I saw the fear behind them. She didn't know how much longer until we all became victims of endless darkness and loneliness, wandering the underworld. None of us knew what death was like, and that scared us. Our mission couldn't have been any simpler. Make it across the Chiral Sea, reach the anomaly, and stop it before it spreads any further. We dealt with BTs before, but this felt different. The ship groaned as it hit the first wave of timefall. The sea beneath us rippled, thick and oily, like it was alive. Every so often, something massive would shift just below the surface, a shadow moving through the depths. I kept my eyes forward, focused on the horizon, but I could feel it. The DHV Magellan was a relic of a world long gone, a ship that wasn't meant to be in the water, yet here it was, floating between the wreckage of what used to be. I'd heard stories about Drawbridge, Fragile's new organization, but nothing could have prepared me for this. I grabbed my gear and stumbled out onto the deck. The air was thick with rain, the timefall eating away at the ship's metal like acid. Then I saw it, a massive BT rising from the depths, its black tendrils reaching for the hull. It was bigger than anything I'd ever seen, its shape barely visible through the storm. I could hear Fragile moving behind me, teleporting from one end of the ship to the other, trying to keep things together. But it was no use. The Magellan was going down. "Sam," Fragile's voice cut through the noise. "You have to get to the core. It's the only way." I didn't have time to think. I grabbed my pack and ran, pushing through the chaos. The ship was falling apart around me, metal screeching and groaning as it tore itself to pieces. But I couldn't stop. I had to keep moving. I had to survive. The explosion sent a shockwave rippling across the sea. I hit the ground hard, my breath knocked from my lungs, but I was alive. The BTs, gone. The storm, clearing. The air felt lighter, cleaner, like something had finally lifted. I looked around, saw Fragile standing over me, bruised but breathing. She smiled, really smiled, like she hadn't in years. "We did it," she said. However, things never quite turn out as you'd hoped. I was on the move again. The mission took another turn. We had more foes to contend with. The most horrifying part of it all, I was captured during an infiltration mission by a group of androids working together with a person I didn't think was still alive. Higgs. He laughed as his boots thudded against the metal floor, slowly approaching me. "I want you to see, Sam. I want you to understand. This world isn't worth saving. You've seen it. Every day you walk through the ruins, delivering hope to people who don't even believe in it themselves. They smile, they thank you, but deep down, they know the truth. We're all just waiting for the end. I glared at him. You're wrong. As long as we keep fighting, there's a chance. Higgs chuckled. That's what makes you so special, Sam. You've always believed that. Even when the odds were against you, even when the whole world was burning around you, you kept going. But what happens when you're the one who needs saving? Before I could respond, the door behind Higgs slid open and a group of armed men entered. They moved with precision, their faces hidden behind masks. Higgs stood, stepping aside as the men grabbed me, hauling me to my feet. My legs were weak, but I forced myself to stand, to meet Higgs's gaze. While Higgs was occupied fighting, I slipped away. The ship was a labyrinth, every corridor twisting into another, every door a potential dead end. My breath came in ragged gasps, and my legs screamed with exhaustion, but I couldn't afford to stop. Higgs' men were after me, their footsteps echoing in the distance like the ticking of a clock, counting down to my death. I've been running for so long, surviving, one step at a time. But this feels different. Higgs isn't just playing games anymore. The stakes have changed, and the madness is spreading faster than I can contain it. But now it's personal. The thing is, I've never really believed I could save anyone. I just kept moving because that's what I do. I carry the weight, I deliver, and then I move on. But this time, something's shifted inside me. Maybe it's because I've seen what happens when you let the darkness in, when you stop fighting. People lose hope, and when hope dies, there's nothing left. Higgs thrives on that. He wants us to believe it's inevitable, that no matter what we do, the world will fall into chaos, and all we can do is watch it burn. But that's not true. It can't be. We've come too far. We've sacrificed too much. I've carried too many bodies to let this be the end. Too many lives, too many memories. I've felt the weight of every death, every loss, and it's carved something deep into my soul, something that won't let me quit.